Hello everyone, my name is Pink Julia and welcome back to Adventure of a Lifetime. We've successfully salvaged Emily's parents' engagement ring for the ship, but during the salvage, Emily saw something on the desk inside the ship room and freaked out, stirring up debris. In a panic, we made it to the surface, but Chisa had to call the hospital. While she was doing that, I dived under again, and with Finn's help, we got Emily safely to the surface and into the canoe. Wonder what's wrong with her and what she saw on the desk. I sure hope they tell us. You two are lucky. It could have been a lot worse. Sorry for all the trouble. Come on, don't give me that boop apology. We're all on the same team, right? Yeah. We were on our way back from the hospital. Rio had been waiting on Omara Beach to drive us there. The doctor said that Emily's collapse wasn't caused by any kind of natural poison or by inhaling any harmful gas. Instead, she'd seen something that had caused her a lot of stress and fallen into a state of shock. Throughout the examination, she didn't say a word, and it was like she didn't really understand what was going on. On the bright side, neither of us had any symptoms of decompression sickness. I was discharged, but they decided to keep Emily overnight, hoping she'd show signs of recovering from her lethargic state. What could have done this to her? Beats me, she looked so happy when she found the ring. But right after that, she'd obviously found something else, too. What happened to the ring anyway? Well, Emily hadn't let go of the ring box, but when I got the chance to look inside again, it was empty. Must have fallen out where you were bringing her up. Chisa looked out toward the ocean. There's no way we'll ever find it now. But don't stress, Hero. You both made it back safe in the end. Yeah. They'll let her leave tomorrow, so how about you whip up a gorgeous meal to lift her spirits or something? Good idea. Thanks, Chisa. Anytime. I'd better get home. Pretty sure Dad's gonna ground me forever. Chisa waved and left to face certain doom. There had been no serious accident, but it still looked bad for the diving shop. I'm gonna get it from Grandma, too. Oof. Guess she kept the shop closed. Of course she did. With all 3 staff members out and her legs in bad shape, there was no way she'd be able to open. She would probably be furious. I prepared myself for the worst and went inside. I'm back. Yeah, welcome back, numbskull. I'm your only grandson, you know. Don't think that entitles you to any extra sympathy from me. Grandma, I'm sorry. About what? You've heard about what happened, right? I'm in no position to say anything. But you're really close to Emily, so I thought you'd be furious at me for putting her in danger. What? Did you want me to scold you? I don't do that kind of thing on demand, you know. That's not what I mean. Though, to be honest, it might have eased my conscience a little if she had gotten mad at me. I knew I deserved it. If you're desperate, I guess I can give you a piece of advice. Advice? Life is adventure, and you'll run into danger sooner or later. But the real adventure only comes when you find the courage to overcome those dangers. Those with no courage aren't really on an adventure. They're no more than children at play. That another one of Grandpa's sayings? Yeah. Now, there was a man who lived his life. You could have learned a thing or two from him. You're probably right. Now here's something from me. The risks you take on your adventures aren't always obvious right away. What do you mean? Just think about it, kid. I probably wouldn't get anything else out of her. Anywho, I think I'll be ready for bed. Grandma went back into the house. Risks that aren't obvious. It sounded pretty profound, but it would take me a while to work out what Grandma had really been trying to tell me. They should have did this transition when we were actually in the ghost ship. Not now, but it was still a nice transition, I guess. Emily was discharged from the hospital the next day. There were no concerns over her long-term symptoms, but she was still in shock and had locked herself up in her room. I wonder if she'll be okay. The outside world truly is full of hazards, just as I suspected. Who knew it would all end on such a sour note? While the others talked around me, I looked through the recently developed photos. Can we see anything in this photo that would tell us why she freaked out? Probably not, but it might have been the notepad. I don't know if she was over on the side near the mirror or over on the far side in the corner. So it might have been like writing that somehow didn't get water damaged on the notepad, or it might be like a picture or something. Are these from yesterday? Yeah. They were all shots of the interior of the ghost ship. So that's what it looks like inside. This is what Emily was looking at. Huh? There was a desk where she had found the ring. Emily had looked at something placed on that desk. Yeah, it looks like a notepad. And whatever she had looked at, it really freaked her out. What is that? A notebook? Not sure. Was there anyone who would know what it was? There was Emily, of course, but apart from her... Her dad! Huh? Ugh! What is it? I scrambled out of my chair. I need to go check something out. Hey, at least tell us where you're going, Hiroki! Please, wait a sec. The older man, realizing he couldn't outrun me, stopped with his back to me as he tried to catch his breath. Sorry in advance if I'm wrong, but you're Emily's dad, aren't you? He didn't reply right away, but he turned to face me. That's right. My name is Shisaku Shirase. I'm Hiroki Mizuno. Did something happen to my daughter? We had a small problem while diving yesterday. Nothing serious like decompression sickness, but she's gone into shock. Apparently, it was brought on by something she saw down there. She hasn't been herself since. What did she see? This, I said as I handed him the photo. It showed their room from the ghost ship. In this particular shot, you could see the items on the desk like a notebook. You know what's on that desk, don't you? Emily, she really saw this? I'm just surprised to think it would still be there. What exactly is it? It's a letter. I wrote it to my wife. So that was one mystery solved. Was there anything in it that could have upset Emily? It was just the letter I used to propose to my wife, so nothing really surprising, except... The older man's face was clouded in regret. I guess he hadn't thought his daughter would end up reading the letter 16 years later at the bottom of the ocean. What was in that letter? You see, Emily isn't my real daughter. What? When I met Emily's mother, she was already pregnant. In that letter, I said that I wanted to marry her and raise her child as my own. That must be what Emily saw. That's actually terrible. So they never told her that he wasn't her real dad. I suspect so. Rekindling her parents' love for each other and bringing her family back together. The goal had brought Emily to Okasawara to search for the ghost ship. What a time to find out that the man who raised her wasn't her real father. Mr. Shirase sat down on a nearby bench. This island is where we first met. I was a poor man then, but a friend had gotten me some work on the cargo ship that brought me to Ogasawara. 16 years. It felt like a lifetime ago now. Her fiancé had passed away, and she was visiting the islands to help mend her heart. She was really fond of dolphins. These islands were famous worldwide for dolphin watching. I'd been disappointed in love before, but she was completely different, and the next time I came to Ogasawara, I proposed. Emily's mother must have stayed on the islands for quite some time. And even though he'd been wary and had left the island, when he came back, he took another chance on love. Emily was looking at the ring when she found the letter. Mr. Shirase nodded. Our engagement ring. I spent all of my savings on it. And even that wasn't much, so the ring is probably next to worthless. He sounded a little embarrassed. I guess he went through some hard times when he was younger. But it sank to the bottom of the ocean before I ever got the chance to put it on her finger. The commercial yacht had run around and eventually sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Then again, or since then, the ring had stayed undisturbed in that desk until Emily had found it. At least she said yes, right? Yes. After that, I just worked like crazy, saved money, started a business that actually did well, but it was all for my family. Really, those were some of the happiest days of my life. After hearing that, I couldn't help but ask, if you were so happy, why are you getting divorced now? What changed? Emily's dad looked slightly taken aback. He probably wasn't expecting me to ask so frankly. What indeed? I suppose I lost faith. Faith? Faith in the love of my family, and in the love I had for them. I worked myself to the bone, but the success of my business meant little for my family. I neglected them to focus on my work, and I said some pretty hurtful things to the people I care about most. When things at home became strained, I would stay at work just to avoid them. But that behavior fed into a vicious cycle. That explained the current situation with his family. It was hard to believe that things could have gone so wrong. But then again, no marriage was perfect. My parents had disagreements from time to time too. I guess living with someone, making a family with someone, and spending so many years together wasn't as simple as it seemed. The breakfast you made the other morning was delicious. Where did that come from? It's been 16 years since I was last in Ogasawara, but the atmosphere here is so relaxing that I feel like my old self again. Come to think of it, I haven't taken the time to enjoy breakfast with my family since I married my wife. How did I become so obsessed with work all of those years ago? It's not too late. You can all still sit around that table for a meal. I'm sure Emily would enjoy that. Mr. Shirase shook his head sadly. That might have been possible before, but now that she knows the truth, I doubt she'll ever forgive me from keeping it from her. But I thought of Emily all alone in her room. That engagement ring was the whole reason she'd come to Ogasawara. For her, that ring represented that one special item that had the potential to salvage everything she cared for. And when she had finally found the one thing that she could have saved her family... Whoops, I hit my microphone there for a second. It had been vanished somewhere in the deep ocean. And now all she had left was an uneven, harsher reality. I'll pay for all of Emily's hotel and meal expenses for the remainder of her trip. Just keep her happy until it's time to go. Sure. That was about the only thing I could say. And that was all I could do for her now. That's really sad. And, really heavy. I think that's all that I'm gonna do for today. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!